Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria and this is a Fibre Love podcast. So this is a wee bit of a different setup because I just cannot put my tripod up and get that area kind of sorted where I usually film, and so I'm on my bed and I've kind of put this fabric down as a backdrop, but I've just not been feeling very well and I'm not up to it. But I did want to podcast and talk about my makes. I finished a really big, garment, and usually at that time I tend to make a podcast just so I can talk about it. But this time I couldn't, and I kind of gave it away. So I made a short video of it. It was my first finished object, technically, of this podcast, and I can insert it here. However, it's just to warn you that when I was filming it, I forgot to turn it horizontal the way I'm doing now. So I filmed it vertically. So you get these black bars on each side, which is a bit annoying. So I understand if you want to skip it, and I will put it down at the, the description box below. I will put the timeline down where you can skip it if you don't want to watch. But the finished item I had and gave away is the CP01 Slipover by Minimi Knit Designs. So that was my first finished object, and I'll insert the video now. Hello. Okay, so I'm going to insert this section into my podcast. This is one of the first finished objects that I've done. It is the vest I was making for my niece, called the CP01 Slipover by Minimi Knit Designs. Let's see if I've got the piece of paper. As you can see, I'm not in my usual space because this is kind of impromptu. I need to give this to her quite quick, and I don't have the time or space right now to do a podcast, like a full podcast. So I thought I'd do this segment beforehand. Let's see. This is CP01 Slipover. Now I did number 2, size 2, which is finished breast measurement 95.5. Mine's is coming a wee bit smaller than that, so maybe because I've not washed and blocked it. I've given it a steam wash, and not a steam wash, what do you call it? I've given it a steam iron. So I've kind of sprayed a bit of water on it and then ironed it up just to make everything lie flat. But it's still coming up a wee bit short. It's more like 90, probably 93, 92 centimeters, like just underneath the armholes, like the circumference is coming up there. I think if I wash and blocked it, it would probably come up to 95.5 because I am sure that my gauge was on point. I just want to see how much yarn was supposed to be taken in terms of meterage in the second, 385 meters. So that was the yarn that was meant to be taken. I think holding my yarns double as I did, if I had held them single, around about 420 meters is what was used on this garment. And that's because I used up exactly 2 balls of drops kid silk. Exactly 2 balls. I don't have because I've not got any left over from those balls, and the other balls I have are in storage. I can't really show you, but one of those balls is 210 meters for 25 grams. So I used up 50 grams and 420 meters of the kid silk, and I used just over 200 and I used just over 2.5 balls of the Drops Air. Both the Drops Air and the Drops Kid Silk were in the shade Sage. I talked about it more in my last podcast. Yeah, so they were both I'll put it down below as well, in the shade Sage, which is a beautiful shade. It's a shade that my niece picked herself online, and I had 2 of these balls and I thought I'd need more, so I actually ordered 2 more of the Drop Sage, and I don't think I should have just ordered 1 more because I used up just 2.5 balls, and now I've got exactly 2.5 balls left. But it's amazing to me how little smaller sizes use up. This size could have probably, she could have probably did size 1 if she wanted something with just enough like ease. Yeah, this gives her maybe about 5 centimeters of positive ease. And because she's going to be wearing it over like a school shirt, because she goes to school, then this will, I think it'll be quite fitted on her. It looks really nice. I made her try it on when it was about this much, and then I knew how much more to kind of extend. The only modification I made on this pattern was when she asked us to increase to about 16 centimeters below this area. I increased to about 20 because my niece is very tall, so our family is kind of all tall, so she needed that extra length. And apart from that, I've made no modifications to this, up to the point where even when I thought that I should make a modification, I didn't. I just went by the pattern. The times where I thought I should make a modification was, to be honest, on the bind-offs. On the bind-offs of both the hem and the armholes, the designer mentions to do a normal bind-off, like, so knit over knit, purl over purl, and then bind off that way. And I was too nervous to do that because I thought it'd make it too tight. Now these armholes are quite long, so that was okay, but we did a lot of decreases before the hem started, and I just was not sure about that. So in the end, what I did was I did do a normal bind off, and by normal I mean like a non-stretchy one. Usually my go-to is Jenny's Stretchy Bind Off and the, what's it called? The Ruke, Ruke. So both of them are the bind offs that I use, and they're quite stretchy. But I ended up using the normal bind off, which is a non-stretchy one, which is just knit 2 and then slip one over, the other. But I did it in a bigger needle. So the hemming and the ribbing basically all over was done in 4.5, whereas the body was done in 5. And the bind off I did was on, come on, would you remember? I think I went back up to 5 again for the bind off. Or was it 6? No, I think I went back up to 5 again for the bind off, just so that would give me a bit of stretch. And you know what? It actually has. So although it wasn't something recommended in the pattern, I think it's turned out fine in terms of like just going up 1 needle size and doing that. The recommended bind off should be okay for most people. Now the bind off for the neck is beautiful. It's actually an I-cord bind off, so that was obviously totally different. And with that one, I kind of started off doing it on 4.5 because she never mentions to go up or down a needle. And then towards a wee while into it, I actually went down to up to a 5 to give it, because even the I-cord bind off is not stretchy. However, this neckline is quite large, and I think that's the reason why she mentioned she didn't recommend going up needle size. Saying that, I think this pattern is beautiful. It's one of the more intricate patterns I've made, and by that intricate, I don't mean like maybe intricate is the wrong word. It's one of the more kind of form-fitted patterns. I tend to go for loose, oversized and boxy, and this pattern is a lot more form-fitted than any kind of pattern I've made. My vests usually aren't this like detailed, and it wasn't easy to do, and I wouldn't say it's an enjoyable knit, but the end product, I'm not kidding you, is beautiful. And for that alone, I'm thinking I might make something of like this in my size, although yeah, I'm just thinking this actually didn't take me as much time because it's such a small size as my size would. So I don't know. I'm trying to show you the back one-handed. So you can see the actual shaping here. Look at those shoulders. At one point, I thought I was making a tank before the ribbing came on, because these were just like, straps almost. I had to iron this bit down. This was kind of sticking up a lot. But if you look at let me get the back up. Yeah. And then once the ribbing comes in to play, then you kind of realised, okay, that's what's going on here. And this is how the pattern's showing up. It's really, really nice pattern. I very highly recommend it. And I really highly recommend this designer. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I've not really heard a lot of podcasts talk about her, but it's Minimi Knit Designs, and she's very size inclusive. So I really like that about her. And I've got a few of her patterns. And yeah, I need to get onto making more, I think. What other pattern of hers is it that I've got that I really like? The instant gratification cardigan. So she's got instant gratification cardigan and instant gratification cardigan 2. And I think the first one I actually cast on, but I didn't like the wool and I ended up like frogging that. But the actual pattern was very interesting, you know, for how much I had like knit of it. It was very interesting. So I do want to get one of those cardigans made of hers. And yeah, so I think this is about all I need to say. This whole vest, right, is a nice, I would say, Aran weight. If you've got drops here and a mohair held together on 5mm, that's an Aran weight. And it only weighs 185 grams. It's so light. It's very, very nice. So yeah, that's really cool. That I'm not a biggest fan of drops here held with a brush alpaca or a mohair though. I think it's nice enough to work with. But I think the end garment is really nice with the drops here. It's very economical as well. 2.5 balls, come on, for a garment. And fair enough, it was 2 balls of the kid silk as well, but still, that's really good. And also, just a price point as well. Drops here is really good for that. Yeah, very nice combination. I hope that the drops, the addition of the mohair will make it so it doesn't pill, because I have heard that about drops here, that it does pill. I mean, most yarns pill, even like my beloved Nutiden pills. So you can't really, and my Alifos Lopi, one of my jumpers from Alifos Lopi, like Slanted Quill, was also pilling really bad. So all yarns kind of pill to some extent. But because this is a gift for somebody, I think if you're not a knitter, you have this thing, or once something starts pilling, it's something to like start throwing away, and I don't want them to think that. And even though mohair is something I know my niece isn't too comfortable with, but because this is a vest, she won't be wearing it against the skin, I took that risk. And yeah, really happy with this finished item. Okay, so I'll stop it there. Okay, so my second finished object are these two slipper socks. Now, you can probably see these were knit toe up. So this is Judy's Magic Cast On, and I knit up. I did a short colour work here, and that was mainly to very simple colour work. It's like a 1x1 1x1 colour work, yeah. I just alternated on 3 rows, and I did it here so that this is a double thickness, this area. This is where my big toe goes, and I do tend to get a lot of wear underneath my big toe. And then here I did so I can do the short row, I think it's called the integrated short row heel from the bottom up, but I decided to do the afterthought or forethought heel. I tend to do it in the forethought method, whereas when I'm knitting, I tend to put the scrap yarn at the place where I know I'm going to come back and pick up for the afterthought heel. So I think that's called a forethought, because I do it beforehand. I don't know. But anyway, it's like the afterthought heel method. And let me see if I could show you this. It's not the neatest of afterthought heels. I'm pretty sure I missed a decrease on one side at least. And then I went up and I did some similar colour work. So the reason why this looks very scrumpled, and the reason why it's probably not the neatest looking, it's not blocked. I don't have sock blockers, I don't use them. But also because this was deliberately made quite big. They're actually made really big. They were probably a good 3 to 4 sizes bigger, because my intention was to felt them. Now, I have felted these now, maybe, let's see this one. This is probably more neater looking for some reason. I have felted these 4 times now, and they are still maybe 1 or 2 sizes bigger than what I need. I can wear them. They're not going to go flopping off my feet, mainly due to the fact that this cuff area is quite long, and it's quite thick now as well. These are definitely more slippers than they are socks, but they're just a wee bit big. So I am thinking about maybe asking or offering them to one of my brothers, who are both quite tall and have big feet. So I think it will not be big enough for my oldest brother. He's 6'4". I don't know what shoe size they are. My other brother's 6 foot. I think he might be able to fit them. Yeah, they are just maybe 1 or 2 sizes bigger for me. I do have big feet. I've got a size UK 8, but this is still a wee bit too big. I usually keep this area about 21 centimeters, and I think this is about, let's have a wee look. Yeah, this is about 25, so it's slightly big. It's a beautiful fabric once felted. I think I probably could felt it a wee bit more, but it's gone through a lot. It takes ages to dry because of how thick it is. This light Moorit colour is Shetland. It's the Super Chunky from the World of Wool. Look at that shade and colour, it's beautiful. It's you get 200 gram hanks, and they're fairly economical for the price. I think they're about £9 or something, and they do have sales on every so often. And 200 grams gives you 130 meters. So it's a super chunky weight. And this was frogged. I made a cape from this, and I frogged it because I made it on 12 millimeters, but still, I prefer my ponchos and my capes like a larger size than a smaller one. Excuse me. Excuse me. So I decided to make socks with it, and this darker brown is Drops Andes, held double. Drops Andes is also, I believe that's a chunky weight, so holding it double, it gave me almost the same meterage. I would say that was a wee bit thicker than this, and that's why I kind of used it on the heel and the toes. Drops Andes is part alpaca, I'm pretty sure. I think it's that 35% alpaca to 65% wool. Similar to Nepal and Lima from Drops. So it's a different composition, but I don't think that should matter. And this is obviously just the pure Shetland wool, and the toes are again the Drops Andes. It's really nice. It's a really nice pair of socks. I think I will try to do this again. I think one of the things maybe that I did that contributed to it not faulting down as much is my gauge. I knit these. This is a super chunky, and I knit it on, I think it was 6 millimeter. So it was a very tight gauge already. If I had not knit it on such a tight gauge, maybe it would have felted more. I don't know. That's just a theory. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is my second finished object technically. Now my other finished object, I don't have that many. I've got this little set that I've been working on. Basically, one of my family members is pregnant, and they were due to have a baby in September. I woke up to the fact that she's having contractions, so it could be here anytime. She's living with us at the moment, and her my brother-in-law is here as well. It's my sister, so we're quite excited about that. And I have been knitting up some baby objects for her. So this is the first one. I had no idea what I was doing. For some reason, like every single baby, how do I say it? Every single baby object, what do you call it? Baby kind of size garment I would start, I just let go. It was so annoying. I don't know why. I don't enjoy knitting such a small size. Or maybe it was just the patterns. They were talking about a lot of things to do in a very short time. So you don't get a lot of stock in it, if you know what I mean. And I thought, why don't I just cast on myself for a simple, folded up bonnet type. I mean, the concept is easy enough to do. Knit a rectangle, fold it, and add on some I-cords. And that's exactly what I did. So I started from here at this edge, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just cast on, and I started doing a 1x1 rib. And then I went into garter. I went back and forth, back and forth. I had no idea what size to knit to. I don't know what, a size a baby's head is, newborn. I don't know what size the baby's going to be, because some babies are huge. Like our babies usually are on the bigger side. Like we are like £8, £9, £10. My little sister was £10. So they were big babies. And sometimes, like my sister now has had fairly petite children. I think hers were more like £6. So I wasn't sure. So I did the 3 to 6 months type measurement that I got from an online free pattern. So I was looking through some free patterns of this kind of construction to see how much I should knit to. So I think this height is 18 centimeters, and this depth, like if you open up the whole depth, is 35. And hopefully that will be enough. So when I knit up and I joined, not joined in the round, what do you call it? A 3-needle bind off here. So inside here is a 3-needle bind off. Let's see, here we go. I did a 3-needle bind off, and then I picked up around the rim here, and I made more of the 1x1 rib to give me the length, because this area wasn't coming up to 35 centimeters, because I looked up the measurements I should be doing after I'd cast on already. So it was totally improvised. I did it as I went along, and I really enjoyed this, making this baby garment, simply because of the yarn I was using. I'll talk about that in a minute, because I have started a few things and I've put them down, and I think it is always with me. My problem is, if I'm not enjoying the yarn I'm using, it doesn't matter what I'm making, I'm not going to enjoy it. So maybe it wasn't so much the patterns that were the issue, it was the yarn I was using before. This is Nutiden. This came as a Lucky Charm in the newer shades, colourways. The Lucky Charms are, I think, they're called Peisling Pusa, something like that. It's not a name I can pronounce properly, but I just call them Lucky Charms. And they're basically mill ends between colour changes. And the colour that I got at the start was this, this is a new colour called Vis, V-I-S. And it's a gorgeous shade comprised of different the two different colours of like a apple red and apple green. This green, I'm pretty sure, this green is a shade in the newer collection. When I say newer collection, I mean the August one. Today's August 21st, so this came at the start of the month. And I bought this green shade as well, so I'll show it to you later. But look how beautiful that is. It reminds me of a green and red apple. And this Lucky Charm, because it's a mill end, it was a colour change between the Vis and the Gubbens. This is a red, a really dark red, so you can see it gets redder and redder. Then it turns into this shade, so I'll show you these in a minute. This is the Gubbens shade. But yeah, so towards the end, what I did was, when I bound off, I didn't bind off the first 3, and I started binding off the rest of it. And then when I got the last 3, or was it? Actually, it wasn't 3, it was 4. When I got to so I didn't bind off the first 4. When I got the last 4, I went straight into an I-cord. So this I-cord is absolutely attached to the little wee bonnet. And I just knitted until I thought it was long enough for it to be tied underneath a baby's chin. And then I went back. These were on like a little needle, and I did the same on this side. So I didn't I didn't sew on the I-cord. These are all completely attached from the rib. And I just love the way how it slowly changes into the darker red. So this rib is how it started off with, and this is how it finished. So some of that colour change came into the first little mitten I made. Again, this is totally improvised. I had no idea what I was doing. Going back, I would definitely change a few things. I wish I'd written some of this down as well so I can go back and repeat some things and change it. I think I would probably not, maybe make it longer. I'm not even sure. Maybe not as wide. So this was, again, started from the exactly the same way I made the socks. It was Judy's Magic Cast On, and I think I did about 8, and then I increased to 18 on each side. So this is 8, so this will be 16 stitches, and then 18 would be 36 stitches in the round. This was on 3mm needles, so this is quite a dense gauge for Nutiden. It's one stranded, by the way. All of this is Nutiden one stranded, and this is on 4mm, including the ribbing. So I didn't change anything. This whole bonnet is on 4mm, and then the I cord of the bonnet is on 3. And then using the same 3mm DPNs, I cast on this little mitten. So the mittens are a wee bit dense. It's a really nice fabric for the newer colorways of Nutiden, because the newer, more recent colorways of Nutiden are a wee bit thicker than the older ones. Because I'm working with Yarnvillia at the moment, I'll show you that next in one of my cast-ons, and I can see how thin it is compared to the newer Nutiden colorways. But this is the top of this, you can see, has some remnants of the Vis, that green and red shade, and then it gets darker and darker, and up to the, I would say right at the bind off here, at the end of the rib, it's probably gone fully into the Gubbens colorway. And this next mitten I made was the Gubbens colorway completely. So this has none of the Vis, this has none of that colour in it. And it's just a wee set for the little baby to arrive. The baby's a boy, and I thought this was a fine shade for him. Like this, I think these colours could be absolutely fine for both boy and girl. And this is beautiful. This Gubbens colourway, I have just enough for one garment quantity, maybe like a jumper for me. It's 600 grams, so I've used a wee bit of it, but not much. It'll still be around about 600 grams. And I intend to make something for myself. Okay, so this is, I think, all my finished objects. So I'll show you some of my cast-ons. Again, I'll show you the first one that is nearby. Okay, so this is one of the things I cast on for the baby as well, but it's not something that I've been wanting to work on because of the yarn. This is the problem I was telling you about. Sorry, I'm going to do this one-handed. I'm holding the phone with my... See, I didn't have the strength to even put the tripod up. Ugh. But, right, it's upside down. This is a raglan cardigan. There we go. So you can see how it starts. I started up from the top here, and I'm working down, and it's a V-neck. So you can see that the neck here is kind of coming down to a point. So I'm making increases here. It's a built-in button band, which is why I chose this pattern. I saw Rebecca from the Caribbean make this. I think it was from one of her friends, I'm not sure. And I spotted the pattern there. It's called the O Raglan. O Baby Raglan. Yeah, the O Baby Raglan, that's what it's called. The pattern is quite good, actually. It's quite clever the way the whole kind of button band's integrated from the neckline, and it goes right down. It's just not very nice for me to work on. This is 5mm. This yarn is the reason why, and like I said, this is a me problem, not the yarn problem. The yarn is 100% wool, and it's makes very nice garments. It's Drops Alaska. Unlike Drops Air on its own, I find it difficult to work with. I don't know if I've just been spoilt now by the handspun and the unspun I've been working with. I love working with unspun. It is by far my most favourite yarn to knit with, by far. I have knit with spun yarn that I really enjoyed, but unspun is where it's at with me. For a spun yarn, this is not the most enjoyable to work with. I just can't help it. I just want to get it done quickly. It's a project knit when I'm knitting with this yarn, not a process knit. With the Nutiden, I don't mind how long it takes because it's such a nice, enjoyable experience for me. This isn't. But it's a really good, it's a really good yarn. It's very economical for me to buy and make as gift knits as well. And this is Aran weight. I think it's 70 meters to 50 grams. So I'm knitting it up on 5 millimeters. Things go quickly. I made a raglan in this for my nephew. My sister has that now. He didn't wear it much. And I knitted that with Drops Alaska I held double actually on 9 millimeters. That went really fast. But again, it was all about finishing the garment and getting it over and done with. This is, I'm sorry, I can't remember the shade, but this is that, I made a vest in the shade. It's a brown shade, but it's got like an undertone of purple, but it's called brown on the website, on Wool Warehouse. But yeah, there's nothing much to say about this. I'll work on it every now and then. I think most of the pattern I've got memorized. I know like every second row, you make an increase on every row, but on every second row, you may also make an increase near the button band to get that gradual V-neck. And it's very simple. The increases are knit front back, and they make this nice pattern here. Knit front back is quite underrated, I think. It can work very well if you do the placings properly. And I've learnt a lot actually from this little pattern here. It's absolutely free, by the way, on Ravelry. So thank you for that. I can't remember who the author is, but I'll leave the details down below. This, I'm making the newborn, but because this is, I think it's a DK weight or worsted, it should come out to be a wee bit slightly more than newborn. I'm very sorry, I can't really maneuver with one hand. But yeah, it's something that I'm working on in between things. It's not the most enjoyable thing. Right now, what have I been working on? So I'll show you I'll show you what I'm working on right now, and then I'll show you the tooth. Okay, there's a few things I'm working on. So let me talk about this first, because this is the newest cast on, but it is the one let me just focus on this. Actually, do you know what? Let me show you one more thing. For the baby. And this will be the last baby object. So I've got a lot of things on my bed here. How am I bringing this over? Okay, so this here is something I just recently frogged. This is the colourway of Nutiden called Knytt. It's a very strange colourway. It's one of those colourways that you can't really tell exactly what it's like in real life, because on the camera it comes up as like a peachy salmon. In real life it's like this olive green with shades of purple. It's just such a weird shade. And I had knitted up a shawl on this, combined with Drops Kid Silk in the shade Almond, which I thought went down well with it. On the camera on my phone, it's coming up as a really nice kind of golden peach, maybe? You can never tell. Sometimes when you upload it, it's totally different. But in real life, it's more of an olivey golden green. It's strange. And when I made the shawl up in this, I was kind of experimenting and making my own design, and it didn't quite work out, so I frogged it. I'll show you the shawl that I frogged. I was making these little braids, and these are like the crochet braids and like the slip stitch braid, and it was like a faraway shawl. It's a really good design concept, and I might visit it again, but there's a few mistakes I made. First of all, this in the middle here, I wouldn't have done enough. I made one strand of Knytt and one strand of Drops Kid Silk on 5 millimeters. The gauge is a wee bit drapey for this. The bind off is not the kind of bind off that's making it firm. It's kind of turning up too much. So there's lots of design elements on this I would have changed, but I will revisit this design again. However, for now it's being frogged, so I'm just like slowly frogging it. and I'm reknitting it into a very simple triangular shape. See, this area here is dark, is so much more darker on the camera in real life, but this was the edge that I the bind off, and because I used this shawl quite a bit, the bind off has gone darker, so that was a bit annoying. I didn't realize how much noticeable that was. It's not too noticeable in real life, it's mostly on the camera, but this is a simple triangular garter stitch shawl, and I'm hoping this can be, so I'm making the increases on either side of the spine, and then just increase each edge. So that's giving me the standard shape, and I'm hoping this could be something like a baby blanket for the new baby, because it's a triangular shape. She can wrap it around the baby, and because usually the blankets you wrap around babies are rectangular, but I think there's excess fabric there, so you can use a triangular shape to wrap them up in, like a, what do you call it, not a burrito, like a samosa. Yeah, no, that's not right. But yeah, anyway, the shape, I think the triangular shape of the shawl would, I think, work very well as a baby blanket. So that is the shade of Knytt, Nutiden, 1 strand Knytt with 1 strand drops kid silk in the shade Almond. I think that's the shade 42. But I'm pretty sure it's called Almond in most websites. So very nice. I really hope this format's okay. It's just I could not stand. I just had a doctor's appointment this morning. Not doctor's, a nurse appointment. They took my bloods, my blood pressure, my BMI. Just did all the checks, and hopefully nothing's too bad. But I just find it very difficult to stand for a long time, and yeah, I've been having a few problems. That's why I thought I'd just do this podcast on my bed in this manner. I know it was a bit haphazard. Right. Okay, so this one that I want to talk to you about is actually a test knit. And I said to myself, I'm not going to do any more test knits. But I saw this shawl and I really liked it. And I like this designer. I really like her stuff. So first of all, let me talk about the yarn, and then I'll talk about the test knit. So, shall I talk about the test knit? Okay, let me talk about the test knit and then talk about the yarn. So this is the Inishmurray Shawl by Tania Barley. And we just started it a couple of days ago. And it's not a secret test knit. She wrote that in the email, so I can't show it on my podcast. And I think it's nice to show the progress that I've done so far. This is the wrong way. This is the right way. Sorry. Oops. This is the right side. It's basically you're working in the stockinette, and the purl side, like the purl side stockinette, is the right side. And there's lace details coming down, which is lovely. The Inishmurray is, I believe, an island off the coast of Ireland where Tania lives, and the shawl's named after that. And it's a lace shawl combined with some colour work, like striped colour work, and a bit of lace towards the end. And there is purling involved in this, as well as what do you call it? Like yarn overs, just like the normal kind of lace thing, and it's a very beautiful shawl. So it's knit in, I think Tanya's used the woolen twine linen, and it's a sport to DK weight shawl. And okay, so this was my issue, was that I initially was going to make this in Drops Puna, and I made a swatch in Drops Puna. I chosen the colours, the very dark colour number 8, I think it's black or anthracite, with a dark brown, and I really like that combination. And I was quite set on it, but when I made the gauge, so it was very difficult to get. Tanya's gauge on 4mm came up to 15 stitches, and that was impossible for the Drops Puna. I tried 4.5, and the 4.5, so the 4, let me spin my foot down. The 4mm gave me about 8 centimetres on Drops Puna, and then the 4.5 gave me 8.5. And I was like, I'm not going higher than that on Drops Puna. It's a DK weight yarn, but it's it's not very lofty or woolen. It's alpaca. It's 100% alpaca, so it feels quite worsted and thin. So I decided, let me try one of the Nutiden shades that I've got, single stranded, because these are thicker shades. And I had a few options. I really wanted to make an Ottipad, which is like this blood orange salmon shade. And Ottipad is a beautiful Nutiden colourway that's very thick as a single strand. But then I had Vidunder and I had Ocean League and Rustic. And out of all of them, I decided that I'm going to go for Vidunder because it's looking very nice. Vidunder is stormy teal blue. I would definitely say it's more blue than the green teal, and it's on a base of grey. It's a stunning Nutiden shade. You can see the grey bits. You can see the grey bits here. Lovely jubbly. I'm sorry if you can hear stuff in the background. There's quite a lot of activity in the house, obviously, because everyone's aware that my sister's having contractions. And making a lot of phone calls. So this is a beautiful shade. And then this is how the shawl's coming out. Obviously, I'm going to have to block this. I'm actually a bit worried because my blocking area is up in the room where my sister and my brother-in-law are staying. So, I don't know. If it's a nice day, I might block it out on the washing line and just weigh it down. I've done that before and it works quite well. But, yeah, we'll see when it comes to it. Right now, the weather's been really, really hot. Really hot in Dundee. I think it's been like that in most places. And just the past day or two, the chills kind of come into the air, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Summer is my worst season. I don't do well in summer because of my allergies and just I run hot in general, so I find it very uncomfortable. So you can see the spine, you can see the lace coming off. It's a very, very beautiful design, and I'm still on the first section of it, so I've got a few repeats still to do of this lace work. And once I've done the repeat, I'll go into section 2. Right, so that is the Inishmurray in one strand Nutiden Vidunder. I'm using 4.5 by the way to get gauge. I made a swatch in garter of 15 stitches on 4.5 and it turned out to be exactly 10 centimeters. So I know I've got 15 stitch gauge. Technically, the gauge isn't that important for a shawl, but I did want to get it, and I did want to get the gauge, to be honest, just so I can see how it turns out. And with the Nutiden, it's very hard to do meterage, but I have weighed my plate. So I weighed this plate. It's 116 grams, so I'll know what it is towards the end, and I'll do the calculations from there. But yeah, I'm excited about this. So my other cast on was something that I was working on exclusively until I started the test knit, and I've done quite a lot of it. I'm not sure if I showed you this. Let me just take out the bag. But let me take... okay, so this is... I mentioned that I've been working with Yarnvillia, which is another Nutiden shade. This shade of Yarnvillia, of Nutiden, sorry, is my first... so let me stick my little bag out the way here. So this shade is the first Nutiden I ever bought was this shade, Yarnvillia, and a shade called Harden. It was in March 2022. And I had no clue what I was doing, even in terms of knitting. I don't think I'd even knit a garment by then. I think I might have cast on my first garment, which was a ranunculus. But I had not knit a garment then. I wasn't a really good knitter. I had no idea how much I needed in spun yarn for a garment weight for myself, let alone in unspun. So I bought 300 grams in each of these shades, and I really regret that. If I knew back then what I knew now, I would have bought 800 grams to give me a nice, cozy, oversized garment in these two shades. But at the time, I didn't know anything, so I bought 300 grams each. And these are both shades I absolutely love. I won't show you the hardener. I'm not making anything with it as yet. I did make something with it. I think I showed it a long time ago. It was a poncho. It was a Yui poncho. I can't remember the... And I have frogged that, so I'm going to make something else with it soon. But for now, I'm working with the Yarnvillia. Yarnvillia, let me see if I can get the edge with one hand. Yeah, you can see how thin it is. And I knew this was something that I had to hold double. Like I wouldn't be able to knit with this single stranded. But 300 grams double would give me nothing. It might give me a shawl, like a... And I didn't want a shawl with this. I wanted a garment with this. So for a very long time, obviously it's been over 3 years, I've kept it, you know, in my yarn collection until I came across... Well, I didn't come across, I bought this cone. So this is the... Let me put this out the way. This is the GNS 2-ply jumper weight. So Jamieson and Smith of Shetlands. I think they're the wool brokers on Instagram. This is their 2-ply jumper weight cone. It's a 1 kg cone. I'm using this in a colourwork cardigan that's on hold at the moment because I've got other stuff to work on first. But this was a shade in 78 Dark Fawn, and I think this goes almost exactly with maybe one shade lighter on the camera, but in real life, I'm not kidding you, this is exactly the same shade as the Yarnvillia. It's probably not got the nuances of Yarnvillia. I mean, I don't think even a heathered shade can match what Nutiden can do inside of their unspun yarn. But in terms of the colourways and the colour mixes and stuff. But it's a very close match. And I combined this into a swatch and I really liked it. And I decided to make a pattern called the Bregne by Fibre Tales. And this was what I've got so far. So let me put this back. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. It's quite a lot. I am sorry, I know it's not the ideal way to be doing a podcast. But look at that. It's very, oops, sorry, my finger. It's very scrunched up because I'm actually at the edge ribbing. And yeah, I knit a lot on this since the last time. Like I said, this has been my main whip until I started the test knit a few days ago. Oh, I'm going to put my foot up again, sorry. So, the Bregne is a drop shoulder jumper. It starts from this panel here, and you actually start it from the back. You make the panel in this lovely herringbone stitch, which is one of my favourite stitches. I love the way herringbone looks. However, it's a very dense stitch, and when I made the pattern, you know, using one strand of Nutiden and one strand of the 2-ply jumper weight, it was very dense on the recommended needle at the 8mm. I've got a feeling that Lurka from Fibre Tales is quite a loose knitter because her gauge on the needle sizes she uses seem quite big, so that indicates that it might be a loose gauge. I think Tania Barley is also a loose knitter, maybe from the gauge that she, you know, 15 stitches and 4mm. So I decided to go up a needle size, and I did actually I went up 2 needle sizes, and I did the herringbone stitch on 10mm. And 10mm is still thick, but it's not got that density to it, and it's quite drapey because I didn't want this item to be too warm. Shetland's warm and Nutiden's warm as well, and Shetland blooms a lot, and I thought that if I could get something that I can wear in the autumn, spring, maybe even some days of the summer, that is more of a practical garment for me than something that's just, for winter wear. And so I decided to do the body of stockinette on 6mm rather than the 5 by like that's suggested in the pattern. And I'm really off gauge, but I really like this fabric. I love the fabric in terms of the colour as well. Look how beautiful that interplay is between the Nutiden one strand and the 2-ply Shetland. I thought the Nutiden would be, because it's quite a thin colourway, I thought it would be completely overwhelmed. I don't like that. I don't mind combining Nutiden with something as long as it doesn't overwhelm the colour of Nutiden and the feel of it. And on this gauge, honestly, it's just heavenly. I think I'm going to be doing that a lot. I'm going to be combining where I can, like, on Shetland, like light fingering with one strand Nutiden. So I've done Nutiden with Mohair, and I like that as well. I think Nutiden with Mohair is a gorgeous fabric as well, but I don't think I've seen people combine it with light fingering Shetland, and I think this is definitely an option that people should look into. It's beautiful. Because what's going to happen is that Shetland's going to bloom. So even like, I don't even think this is like a sheer. Maybe if I put my finger right, like, you can see that. But it's still a very, opaque. You don't have to have a layer underneath this, for modesty. I think it'd be absolutely fine. But it's still a very light gauge, and it won't be too dense or heavy. I like that a lot. And obviously doing one strand of Nutiden for 300 grams gives me roughly about 1,500 meters. So that would be plenty for, a full-size garment. And that was one of the things that I really wanted with Yarnvillia. I wanted a full-size garment with this. And obviously because it's such an old shade, there was no way to get it again. And combining it with the Shetland has, given me the opportunity. This is my... Like, I have one more of these. Let me see. Sorry about the wrinkling, but it's in a plastic bag. But look, I've got one more plate left. This is 300 grams, and the whole body. And like I said, I'm a big size. I'm 150 centimeter. I'm using size 2 because my gauge is off. So, damn, I should have measured my gauge. I think I did, and I've totally forgot. I think it was 13 stitches or 14 stitches, and this is 17 stitches. I think this is a 14 stitch gauge, and it should be a 17. So instead of doing the biggest size, which is size like 155 centimeter bust, I'm doing the 4th size, which is 120 centimeter bust. But when I measured the edge, like, the what do you call it, circumference, it's coming up to about 150 centimeters. So that's absolutely fine for me. I'm totally on track in terms of the size. So yeah, let me try to see if I can get something up here that will give you, and it doesn't help that the needles are like, the cord is quite, it's on a small cord. There we go. Sorry, you saw my foot there. Right, I'm going to pause it there, take a bit of a break, then I will tidy up some of my stuff on the bed, and I'll come back. I'll show you one more whip. I'm going to show you my Lettlopi. I haven't worked much on it, but I did do some editing on that before I put it aside for this. When I cast this on the minute I finished this EP01 vest, and it always happens with me sometimes that I allow myself a cast on, but I get so enamored with it that I just work on that and leave all of my other cast ons aside. But this has now been put to the side. Just as it's about to finish. I just need to pick up on the arm side here and do the sleeves. The ribbing still needs to be done though, so I've just started that. I'm not too keen on the ribbing. It's a 2x2 rib. I should have just let it roll, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that is that. I will come back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back. I've had a wee bit of a tea break and just kind of caught up with what's going on in the house and how my sister's getting on. And I have, I think, one or two more whips to show, not much. And then what I'll do is I'll show you my new Nutiden purchases and some of the spinning I did in the past 2 or 3 months. I just wanted to show you, this is a swatch I made of the Nutiden one strand held with the Shetland. This is the first swatch I made just to see how it looked like and whether or not I wanted this in a garment. And when I saw it, I was like, definitely. My swatches are not that big, I know. But yeah, it's really pretty. It's a very unique shade, I think, these two together. So I'm so happy that I managed to find a match for the Yarnville. I had a few like mohairs kind of set aside for it, but nothing quite hit it. Like then from the drops, I had mauve, I had heather. I thought the best one was probably the beige, actually. But this Shetland shade was like a match. So I just want to show you the Lettlopi drop shoulder jumper that I'm making. This is freestyled, and I did knit on this for a wee while, and then I've stopped, and then I went on to finish my niece's vest, and then when I finished that, I cast on the Bregne, and I have not stopped knitting on the Bregne until now. So oops, sorry, I'm just gonna hold it with my hand. Get myself, so I've changed my position a wee bit. I'm on the edge of the bed and sitting on a stool, and this just gives me a wee bit more control. So this is drop shoulder, as you can see here. Let me just fix this arm. I've made a few short rows at the top here. You can see that stripe, but that first stripe is a wee bit bigger before the contrast colour stripes start. It's coming down from, now this neckline does look quite small, and that's because, remember, I'm going to add a button band and that will widen. So again, this is just me freestyling, so it's like a judgment thing. I decided to add some of the contrast colour bands on the ribbing. I don't know if I'll have enough to do the same thing on the button bands. So I'm thinking that because this is on the cuff, I'll mimic it on the hem, but I'll forego it on the button band and the collar that I'm going to add. I'm thinking about adding the type of collar that kind of bends, like a shirt collar type, or a Henley, I think it's called, rather than like a normal kind of, cardigan or jumper type normal crew neck collar. I want something a wee bit different for this, but I don't think, again, I'll have enough for the contrast colours to add anything to that colour, so I'll just be purely from this shade, the main colour shade, which is Milky Way in Lettlopi. So I've got this down in my Ravelry pages. I've talked about it in the previous podcast. You probably noticed that I've privated my previous podcasts. And I think going forward, what I'll do is, like, each podcast I make, I'll keep the one previous to it up online for a while, maybe a month or two. And then I will take that down and then just have one podcast up at a time. I don't know what, to be honest, if you ask me exactly why I'm doing it, I'm not 100% sure. It's not one factor, there's many. But I do know that long term, I don't want my presence online, like as a permanent fixture. For me, like making this channel, okay, let me just have a wee talk. For me, making this channel was, this is a Lettlopi main colour, was simply like I think like most people, it was like a journal of their journey. And to see, like, how, like, for my first videos, if you're a long-term subscriber, my first videos, I didn't know how to knit. I was just buying wool and loving it. And I still have those videos, but they're privated, so I can go back and I can reference a lot of things that I've done if I want to look at things. So that's still there for me. But I am a very introverted person, and at the same time, I've noticed that I share a lot. Like I share a lot in my podcasts, and I think that becomes quite therapeutic for me. So I enjoy doing it. I like it, but at the same time, that the aspect, that part of me that's quite private and introverted, there's something not in me that doesn't sit right with so much of myself being online. And that's despite me, like I've never really come on the side of the camera. Like I said, it was mainly because of my setup, and then after that I kind of liked the fact that I wasn't on the side of the camera, and that anonymity, it kind of allowed me to let loose a wee bit more. It's fun. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt I could talk about things a lot more. I mean, there's still a lot of more things I don't talk about on my podcast to the public. But yeah, so despite that, even my anonymity, I just still feel like there's a lot of me online, and I don't want that, especially with this kind of age we're going into with AI and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Yeah, and like I said, I've never had the intention of being an influencer or monetizing even this channel. I don't think it's not monetized, this channel, and if it was, I'd try to get all the ads away. I didn't realize they put ads on now. It's so annoying. Back in the day when I used to I have a soap business, and I used to like upload videos, and until you were monetized, you had 0 ads on your videos, and I really liked that. And then when they did monetize it, I just took the ads away from the middle of the video and left it at the front and the back and the end. And I don't think I'd ever come to the point where this channel is monetized, but if it ever did, I'd take the ads away. And yeah, I think that's quite annoying for a lot of people. But yeah, I didn't know that I'd added ads in. So it's never, what I'm saying is, I've never been my intention to make this channel anything bigger than just me talking about some of my stuff on my journey and what I'm learning. And the bonus has been that there's been a lot of great community who have like given me a lot of advice and feedback, and I've learned a lot from. So that I didn't even expect that, and that came along with it. So that's been amazing, and I still think I can do that with uploading podcasts every so often, and keeping things up for a while and then making them private. After a certain amount of time, once people have plenty of time to watch if they want to. So yeah, that's what some of the reasons why I basically privated my previous videos and taken them down. And they're not exactly spectacular podcasts. They're not greatly edited. They're just me rambling on, sometimes a wee bit too long, about the things I've made. So I hope that's not bothered anybody too much. I don't think it has. I think I had maybe one person or two reach out saying that they were in the middle of a video, and I did offer to put those videos back up again so they can finish it. But I don't think it's a big deal that too much. My channel's not in that kind of category, that should make a big deal. But it's helped me. I think it's kind of given me a lot of relief. And yeah, so that's why I went off on a tangent. But yeah, so this is the whip that I will come back to eventually. I think right now I'm enjoying other stuff that I'm doing. This this is a funny one because the colours of this is definitely spring summer, and yet this is Lettlopi. So this is something that I'd probably be wearing more in like the cold spring, winter time. I don't think, maybe some summer evenings. So yeah, this is Lettlopi on 5mm. So the gauge is lovely. I love this kind of gauge. If I did it, I could have done it on 6mm for a summer gauge, I think. Something that you can wear on the chilly summer evenings. Because even 5mm, I think that's a very nice, substantial gauge you can wear in cold weather. But I have 13 balls of the main colour. I have 2 each of the contrast. And I think doing on a 6mm would have left a lot of yarn over, like left lots of yarn left over for me to use up in other stuff. I didn't want that. I want to use my yarn up, and that's why I kept it on a 5mm. Also, I do like this gauge of 5mm Lettlopi. It's around about 15 stitches. I think it gives me 15, 16 stitches on a 5mm. Look at that shade. That's a lovely shade, Milky Way. It comes across as like almost like a grey, light blue lilac from far away, and then close up it's got all those One thing about this that I've noticed at this opening here, I left 20 stitches, I think it was, and I think this is not a very big opening. I'm going to go back, pick this up, and make a bit of ribbing here. Then I'm going to knit down in the main colour into a pocket, and I'm thinking that as I knit down, I'm going to widen the pocket so it's like a bigger pocket inside. So when it reaches here, which is where the pockets are, it'll come out to about here, and that'll be give me a bigger pocket. But the bit I slide my hand into will be slightly narrow. I'm also wanting, because I've done this before on my dad's vest, is that as I knit the fabric down for the back of the pocket, I want to combine it with the bottom edge, but I'm not sure, because if you look at my stripes now, I've just started the pink, so that means I've got another main colour, then I'm going to do the yellow, and then another main colour, then the blue, and then I'm going to start the rib, but that will make it into quite a large, long pocket, and I don't want that. So I think see, this is started just on the blue. So maybe just as it hits the next yellow, the bottom of the next yellow, I will bind the back, the fabric of this, the back side of the pocket off with the yellow, and hopefully that won't be that noticeable. Because when I bind it off at the edge of the rib, it's actually very nice, and it kind of becomes camouflaged. So binding it off in the middle of a stripe, I hope it's not too noticeable, but it should be okay. Again, that's for the future. I'm not working on this further now. The only thing I'm worried about is that I hope I have enough of this contrast colour to put into the hem. So, Yes, so this is that. What other? I have a short, a very small. I don't show my beanies or my sockses, but I thought I'll show you one of the ones I'm working on right now. Is this toe-up sock, and I will decide whether I want to do an afterthought heel or I think it's called the integrated short row heel. Yeah, there's not much to say. This yarn is a limited edition clearance yarn I got from World of Wool. It is made out of 20% silk, 20% nylon, and the rest is wool. And it's got like this kind of, I don't think you can get this anymore, so there's no point in talking much about it. But it's a slight golden tweedy effect of it. And it's 400 meters to 100 grams, so it's a 4-ply. And I'm using it double, so a DK weight on 3.25 millimeter needles. So it's a very dense gauge I'm getting, and it's not the most pleasant to work on. But I find that for me, a dense gauge sock is where it's at in terms of longevity. I might actually give these to my dad. People love socks in this film. I'm not the best. I don't enjoy knitting socks so much, so every time I knit a sock for myself, it starts out from me, but ends up like, oh, I'll just gift it because, it makes them happy. But I do want a few pairs of socks for myself. I was making those slipper socks for myself, the ones I felted at the start. But yeah, it didn't work out. So I think that is all my cast-ons. And I thought this was going to be a short one, but this is all, it never turns out to be short, does it? So what I'll do, I will pause there. I will take a drink of water or juice, and I will show you my Nutiden acquisitions, and then I will show you my spinning. Okay, so before I show you my Nutiden purchases, I wanted to quickly show you something I cast on with this Lion Brands Fisherman's Wool. So I cast this on as a baby blanket initially before I cast on the one I'm working on in Nutiden. And this is the Lion Brands Fisherman Wool in the tweed shade. I think it's birch tweed, 2002 or something like that. Let's have this. It's a lot 2022. It's a lovely yarn. I just knitted it up and held with one strand of Drops Bristol Paca in the off-white, and I made a Clara Raglan by Albina McLaughlin. So I knitted that up using the brushed alpaca, and I love the fabric. I love the garment. It's really, really nice. And I had bought 5 of these, and I had 2 left, which is a huge surprise to me. That I thought I'd use up all 5 for my size, but I was knitting it up with 1 strand brushed alpaca, and it was on 6mm. I think the recommended needle size is 5. Let's have a look here. A 5.5. Sorry, it's not. Yeah, the 5.5 I think would be a bit of a loose gauge. But yeah, it's a narrow weight yarn, and because I had 2, I thought it'd be great to make this up into a wee blanket. So when I started, I was starting it up in a hap style almost, and just slipping the last 2 stitches. And I couldn't do this. I could not go on with it. It was on 5mm needles, and it was just so not enjoyable. Like, it was becoming a chore. And this is a blanket, and it was going to be quite big. And I was thinking that of making, because I've got 2 left, like I'll make this up to the halfway point of the triangle, and then the decrease of the triangle would be the second ball or skein, and then that would make it, a nice substantial blanket. I just couldn't for the life of me. I wish I had more of the drops for brushed alpaca left, because if I combined it, I knew I would. And it's just so surprising to me that everything I think is dependent with me on this hobby with fibre and the fibre I'm using. Because this is, like I said, like the Drops Alaska, this is a perfectly fine wool. It's such a nice finished garment, and it's very economical as well. So that'd be great for me, with my budget. But I just can't. I couldn't do it. Maybe it will come a time where I can, because I feel like I'm getting a wee bit more used to the drops there. Saying that, I still hold it with a mohair or a brushed alpaca, but I don't know what it is about those 2 yarns, the brushed alpaca and the mohair, that makes these type of yarns more, workable for me. But yeah, so I've stopped that, and I've cast a Nutiden, and I'm just, I'll see what I can do. I'll probably combine this with something, because it's such a nice yarn, and I love the tweed effect. Love the tweed effect. I really want a full-size cabled garment in this type of yarn. But anyway, I thought I'd just show you that. So the first Nutiden shade I'm going to show you is the Gubbens. This is what I knit up. Well, this was the shade that came into the Lucky Charm that I knit up the mittens and the bonnet, the baby bonnet in. And it's a beautiful dark red brown shade. It's coming up a bit bright, I think. Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, it's still a wee bit bright. It looks like a red shade, and it's not. It's really more of an earthy brown that does not have terracotta. And you can't understand how long I've been looking for this type of shade, where it's a earthy red brown, but not terracotta. It's not got an orange tint to it. Just a red and a brown and a dark shade, like a dark tone. And this hit it exactly right. And it's a very monochrome shade. It's not like got a lot of different kind of colorways or nuances in it. It's quite a solid shade. And this is honestly, this is a little I-cord I was making, because it's been 10 years since we had a baby in the family, but I think I remember having little cords between the mittens so you can insert them into like the baby grow or a coat. I'm not sure if that's right. So I was making one, and then I became quite unsure about it. I'm also unsure about the length to knit it. I think longer the better. But at the same time, if it's going through the grow or the coat, I don't want it to like hurt the baby or like annoy the baby. So I didn't add it on, and I think the best thing is to just tell my sister what I'm doing. And because, by the way, my sister doesn't know I'm knitting up things for her baby. So I'll ask her and say, look, do you think it would be handy for you to have a bit of a I-cord connecting the 2 mittens? And she'll let me know if I need to continue on. It's on a 3mm. This was a DPN I used to knit the mittens up in. And it's just I think it's the basics, Knit Pro Basics DPN in the 15cm, quite small. I never buy 15cm DPNs anymore. I always get the 20cm ones. But look at this shade. I have 600 grams of this. I've used just a tiny wee bit to make the I-cord, and one of the mittens, and I still have enough to make a garment in 600 grams. I'll use it double-stranded on 6mm. That's definitely enough to give me, if I use it on a 5mm even, I think it would give me enough. And I have had either the Clara raglan again, or just like a raglan, like, you know, or the tulip. I have not made a tulip yet, I don't think. And that's definitely on my queue on one of the garments I want in my wardrobe. I think it'd be very nice because I wear a lot of dresses, you know, so yeah. So either that. There was another option that I've recently had. I think, excuse me, my voice just went a wee bit high and squeaky there. I think that, I think I will make another Bregne, the one I'm working on. I do want raglans, but that drop shoulder and that design and the herringbone, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, you can just see how much I've knitted on it in a very short span of time. And I think I will continue with another one of those, but I'm not sure if it's a pattern or if it's just the yarn I'm working with. The Shetland and the Nutiden combined together it's just hit the spot for me in terms of knitting enjoyment. So maybe it's just the fact that it's a Nutiden Shetland combination and I can make any pattern with it and I'd still enjoy it. I don't know. But I do like that Bregne, and if it fits in my wardrobe and it looks good, then I think I might be making another one of those. But I have options. I definitely have lots of garment quantity yarn. I try not to buy more. I did buy something actually. I'll show you in a bit. Not because I need it, but because it was yeah. I'll talk about that when I come to it. So the second shade I got was the other kind of greeny shade that I showed you, the apple shade in the Vis, and that's this shade called Yaya. This is called Gubbens, which means old man, and this is Yaya, which is, I think it means grandmother in Greek. Look at that shade. It's the shade of, it's one or two shades slightly deeper than a Granny Smith apple. I wouldn't say it's a Granny Smith. I think Granny Smith is slightly lighter, but it's just maybe one or two shades. It's like a green stem. It's gorgeous. I don't buy the lighter greens. I buy the darker greens. I've got the Snaret and the Act Room, and I tried to get the Botanisca, but I ran out in the shop update. And the darker green shades are definitely ones I go for. And this is the first time. Actually, that's not true. I did buy Copper Stick. I've still not used that yet. But that was like a sagey green. And I think I've bought Oracle, which is a mint kind of green. But this type of green is not usually on my radar. And there was something about this I thought, at least let me get one plate of it. I actually wanted 300 grams of this. But again, if I wanted 300 grams of this, I would have had to make a third order from Mohair. And that's simply because since the price rises, I have to make 2 orders in order to keep it underneath the £135 limit. And also, if I make a lighter order, the shipping is a wee bit lower, so it hits under the £135 limit. Because above £135 in the UK, you get charged with customs duty of around about £50, which is a lot just to pay for customs. So, yeah. If I wanted this in 300 grams, I had to make a third one order. And as much as I love it, it's not my usual colour. And I was thinking either when I was thinking about 300 grams, I was actually thinking of a shawl. I've seen this gorgeous shawl on Pinterest. I think it's absolutely stunning. And I wanted something similar to that. I thought to combine maybe one strand of this with one strand of either a mohair. I think Drops Kid Silk has a parrot green, or even a darker mohair like the dark green, just to give the colour a wee bit more depth, and something that would probably be more suitable for my wardrobe. But I only got one, and that's about 500 meters. I could still make it into a nice size shawl, you know, with combined in one strand and one strand of mohair or brushed alpaca silk. But I think this will be really good in actual colour work. Do you know, for like any kind of botanical colour work, for leaves and stuff? It's a perfect shade for that. I have quite a lot of the different greens in Nutiden, like lighter greens from Lucky Charms that I've got. So nothing that I've actually bought, but I'm pretty sure I've got Carna, Faggot or Rennet. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, this was the Yaya shade. So I bought a shade called Creekon, which is a plum shade, and I'm not showing that because I bought 300 grams. Again, I wanted more of that shade, but I couldn't fit it into the, because if I wanted a garment quantity of this I bought 600 grams, and a garment quantity of this shade, I'm going to show you now, I could only buy 300 grams of Creekon, so that's still in its bag, and I've not opened it. I've not seen it myself. And that's the third shade now of Nutiden that I've not seen yet, and I do have. The other two are Omtanksum and Deeg. I've still to see them because I've not opened up the bags. Once you open up these bags, like the air just pops out and these expand. And like I said, I have a space issue. But I'll show you the third, the other, not the third, this is going to be the fourth shade that I got from this update. And this is the gorgeous, gorgeous shade called Steeked. And this was the other one that I wanted in the garment quantity, so I got 600 grams of this. This is Black Gotland, mixed with a bright red to give this shade. And I think this is sold out, unfortunately, on the website, which I totally understand because this is the shade that most people went for. The Creekon's really nice shade as well. That was like a plummy shade on a dark grey. But this shade is just stunning. Like I said, it's going to be a basic garment, either a raglan or a drop shoulder. For so many of these, I can probably work it one-stranded like I am doing the shawl. And I made the bonnet, and I'm a lot more confident now working with one-strand Nutiden. But just for the sake of getting through yarn and going through it quickly, I prefer working with bigger needles as much as possible. But this is a shade Steeked. So pretty. So this was, do you know, before I discovered Nutiden and Mohair, I believe they used to use a lot of Gotland in their colourways, and those colourways are something quite magical about them. And I think it is the Gotland, because Gotland has this long staple that has almost an ethereal sheen to it, and it's got a silkiness to it and a drape to it. And I think there was one colourway, and it might have been the last colourway that I bought when I made my first purchase from Nutiden, the Yarnvilja and the Harden, and I think that was Stila. It was a blue shade. It was a long time ago, but from memory, I think that had the Gotland, and I think that was the last one to have Gotland in it. And the reason why, and Caroline explained this in one of her Patreon videos, is because Gotland is very difficult to work with the machinery that they had. The silkiness and the drape of it would make it fall down into the I don't know what the kind of the jargon is for, like, mill machinery, but it would fall down and almost like a waterfall. And she showed us a picture of it, and it was quite amazing what would happen. And the more bulkier and the more loftier yarns would keep afloat on that section. So I think Gotland for them was an issue because of the way it worked in the machinery, and they stopped using it. But when they stopped using it and they started using the Leicester long wools instead for the shine, it just wasn't the same thing. If you see those very, very old Nutiden colourways with the Gotland in it, there's just something so unique about them. It's just that kind of shine and that kind of... I love the loftiness of this as well, and I think the loftiness is actually the thing that's allowing us to work with it one-stranded, that thickness, and it's giving us stability to it. But the look of it, I think there was something magical about Gotland. So when she said that this is made from Black Gotland, which was something that they did use in the fibre, I think the Ula fibre is based in Black Gotland, but this was the first kind of the yarn, unspun yarn, that was based on Gotland for a very long time. So I really I knew I was going to buy this one in a garment quantity. You can see bits of that red. It's quite a pink red, I would say. That's definitely... And I don't know if it's the same red as this. I think it's a different red. I think it's a more clearer red, she was saying, than the Gubbens. But yeah. I also got this free sample as a lucky charm, and it's showing the colorways of the next one coming up. I really do hope it's okay for me to show, but I believe that it should be. And look at this. This is like an olive green, like a brownie olive green. So there's something in between a brown and olive with bits of gold and rust in it. And every time I say, oh, I've got enough Nutiden now, I've got enough, I need to just start working with it, don't buy any more, you've not got any space. I'm literally using it as pillows. Well, not literally, but some of the fibre I've stuffed into a pillowcase so I can like at least, use it as I'm working with it. But yeah, this shade has just caught me again. Look at that. Oh, so nice. And the inside, this was the Lucky Charm, like the Vis was on the outside and then the Gubbens was on the inside, the one I made into the bonnet. So this inside is I don't think I need this shade because I've got the Hofta sister, and I've compared them, and this is lighter, but this really, really reminds me of a shade one of the shades that I love from before called Glimped. I think Glimped had Gotland in it, so it's a slightly different look to it. But this shade is really nice. It's like a beige, but it's not beige. It's like light gold. Don't know if you can see that in there. I don't want to obviously ruin the little... I'm trying to show you that this is quite a unique shade that I really would like. Can I justify buying it? Oh, I don't know. I'm just stretch. But yeah, so this is my Nutiden. I'll put that to the side, and oh god, it takes a lot longer than you expected. 17 minutes. I want to talk about my spinning. So I want to show you some of the stuff I spun. This is a more Honor air fibre, and this is a Stani, and I've shown this before, but I spun a lot more of it, and I'm getting through this slowly. This is such a nice, honestly, the Honor hair fibre is such a nice fibre to spin. It's a very rustic carded bat that they send you, and it's something that I've noticed that I've got Stani Ula and what's that peach one I got? It's not Rita. It's something else. It's a peachy shade, but they're all, because they're kind of double carded, I find that I don't have to card them again, and I can just rip them apart and start spinning them, and it's quite nice sometimes. I don't mind carding. I actually enjoy the whole process of like processing fibre, but sometimes, when you're tired, you're a bit lazy. This is I believe it's like a beige base, and just a multitude of coloured ways that are like blended into it, and it's spun up. It's one of those kind of cosmic or galaxy type colours. And I've got this is a Stani, and then I've got the Ula as well, but look at how nice it is. And I think I did one or two, yeah, I made about one or two of these hanks, and then I went on to something else because I do like changing up a bit. I've got a brown finish on the spin that I haven't done yet because I'm making a garment quantity of that. I've noticed that I need a break from it sometimes, and that's just plain brown. I wish I had combined that with something to make it a wee bit more interesting than just plain brown, but that's fine. We live and we learn. I am combining stuff now. So the next one I did, I bought okay, so I have quite a bit of plain spare yarn. This is I don't want to take it out because it'll be so crinkly because I'm doing it one-handed, but this is Leicester Longwool. No, Lincoln Longwool from Winkham Woolworks. And this fibre is very coarse. The micron count is up to about 40, and you can feel it. It's not something that I'd want in a jumper at all. And I would say, sorry, I'm not going to speak and do this. I would say I'm quite tolerant to wool, but this would be quite yeah, a rough wool. And this staple is huge. The staple is like 30 centimeters long, and it actually is quite difficult sometimes on the carder. And in my head, I thought, let me combine it with something to soften it up, but make some sock wool from it. So I had these bits and bobs. Like this is just from some botany lap waste I've had in the past. I think I had something sent to me free from World of Wool. Let me just take this out actually. I'll have to just take this out. And this was a comb top of merino and linen. So I thought that'd be good for, this is black merino, a red merino, and the white linen. I didn't like how it turned out. I did card this on its own, but I didn't want to knit this up into something because I don't like these white flecks actually, the linen. But I thought it'd be nice in the sock, could give it a wee bit more stability. And then there was this was that Shropshire that I first carded. First spun from a wool top. I didn't have my carder back then. I didn't know what I was doing back then, and it was really thick and thin, and I managed to salvage some of it. I used some of it in a pair of socks, what I could, and the bits that were too kind of, thick, I just recarded and made into, and I thought I'd add into here. And then I think there's just little bits and bobs from, this is like a bit of Manchalopi. This is some of the Plotalopi. See the plates that you get from the Icelandic store? In the middle, they're combined sometimes, and when you tear them apart, these bits come off, and it's perfectly fine yarn, but I can't really knit with this anymore, can I? And I don't know where that's from. So all of this I was using, so I've got a few of these little baggies I've made, and I combined them into this. It's quite a thick, it'll be a sock yarn, but it's quite a thick sock yarn, so I'll probably be knitting it up as on 3.5, even maybe 3.75 millimeters for a pair of socks. Probably make a few pair of socks because I've got two of these bags. This was one bag. I just divided all the fibres I had into this equally. And yeah, so that was one of the spins I made. I bought, there's a Woolly Wednesday that goes on with World of Wool, and one of those Wednesdays had botany lap waste, 500 grams, for about, I think it was £6-7, and I bought that, and it came up to about £11 in total. But a big part of that was stuff that I didn't like, and I don't usually buy stuff like that, like a mystery boxes. I don't do stuff like that. I don't know why I went for it, and a big chunk of it was this like white kind of I've got it. Do you know what? I'm not going to. I've got it nearby, but I won't get up. But it was basically almost filling polyfiber, and that was the one thing I'm afraid of when I buy these mystery boxes, because I do not like nylon. If I was a mystery box full of natural fibers, I think I'll only go for that again. But when I bought it, I was a wee bit annoyed, and I just chucked a lot of things together and made this. So some of this is actually quite a nice fibre. It's like the silk. There was that yellow bit is silk that came in, and the blue bit actually didn't come in this time. This was a combination of two botany lap waists. The blue fibre came free with an order I made. I think it was a few years ago. I still had it as like a little bag, as like a 200-gram bag of botany lap waste. This is just the mill ends of. It's perfectly fine fibre, but it's just not enough that they can sell it as one product. And this is just crazy. I did a 2-ply, and one of the bats I spun up, like I carded it really, like all the colours together, so they're all combined. And then the second bat, I carded the colours side by side, so they weren't all combined, and they came out in strips of colour. So I think this is what you call a fractal. I might be wrong. I'm not too familiar with the names, but yeah, this is crazy. I'm really curious to see how this knits up. So I might just ball this up and see. But yeah, that is a bit. Yeah, it's not something I've ever made before. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. But it was fun actually, and it was really, really a lot of fun. Not like I didn't film any of this. I didn't like note anything down. It was just me being a bit of a daredevil and doing everything I could. So that was a lot of fun. Right, next thing I wanted to show you was another spin I'm doing. I've done quite, it's 400 grams and I've done 300 grams already. But I'll show you the fibres I'm using. This is some of the fibres from the, oh, can I do this one-handed? Botany lap waist. So that was one of the fibres from the bottom lap waist. I think this is a mix between, this is the bio nylon probably and something else maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll put this one to the side at first. But this was from the old Botany lap waist. This is my Gotland. This is from the new one. This is from the new one. So as you can see, I took some green, yellows and blues together. And then I took this, this was a spin I was doing. This is called the Snow Leopard. And it's a combination of, I might have it here actually. No, I don't. It's a combination of Corriedale, Himalayan nettle fibre, merino, or merino pearl, and wool and viscous nip. And I think the wool and viscous nip might be South American wool. And this is called the Snow Leopard, and it's a beautiful spin, really beautiful. And I was combining this spin, and I showed it, I think I showed it last year with a bit of my grey Gotland from World of Wool. This is a really beautiful gunmetal grey. And this is such a nice fibre to spin. But see the fibre that it becomes, the yarn that it becomes, this one. So I've got like just my little label in it. It's not really singing to me in terms of working with it. I think the nettle fibre makes the actual yarn, it flattens it almost. It doesn't have that bounce that a woolen spun does usually when I'm hand spinning. And the colour as well, it's not exactly my favourite colour. So I've got 3 skeins of this in about DK, like DK weight. So I'll think about doing something with this. But for the rest of the fibre, I didn't want to spin anymore. So I thought I'd combine all of this fibre, so this is majority, with all of this. So this is like a teal, greeny yellows, and then blues, and then this is the darkest blue. So there's quite a bit. As you can see, this is a teal, green, yellow, and these are like the blues, and then this is a grey. And I got this with it. And one of them seems to be a lot more yellow, even though I tried to like weigh everything out and make it, even in between every single one of these hanks. But these two seem to have turned out a lot more blue. Because I think this fibre seemed to dominate everything, including the yellow and the teal. So they're more like a steel blue, but they are beautiful, beautiful hanks. And I'm really enjoying the look and the feel of this compared to, I pressed the off button by mistake. I really am enjoying the look and feel of this compared to this. Sorry, I just make labels from my own old medication. This is like some kind of eye medication, I think. And just write down what the ply is and the meterage. But yeah, I really, compared to this one just seems quite boring for me to knit in. I might combine this with some brushed alpaca or some silk, or maybe I'll hold it one strand with something else. But this one, now this is coming out as a thicker DK, so more like worsted DK, but still quite DK. And I have 400 grams, so I've got this fibre back left to make one more hank. So one more hank of these. So I'll have 4 hanks of this. And I'm thinking a shawl. I really like the way this looks. Really, there's so much more interesting than that grey. Lovely. Right, what else have I got in terms of fibre? Okay, let me just pause it there and I'll come back in a minute. Hi. Okay, so I totally forgot, but I had another yarn purchase that I mentioned briefly and I forgot to show before I went on to the spinning. But on August the 9th, Knitting for Olive donated all the proceeds that would have that people purchased on that day to the Gaza Food Aid, to UNICEF. And honestly, I don't need wool. I don't need any, especially spun wool. But I made 2 purchases that day, and I just wanted to support them because I think they're absolutely freaking amazing for doing what they did. And because, as everyone knows by now, everyone can see, everyone with 2 brain cells, the absolute atrocities that are happening there, and the forced starvation of those people. I hate it when the media call it people are starving. No, they are forced to starve. Children and babies are being forced to starve there because of the evil regime that is committing those evil crimes. And I don't talk much anymore about that. I find it very difficult to talk without getting emotional and without getting extremely angry. So I don't want that to be something. There's only so much of it I can cope with mentally as well. And I think that's such a freaking first world problem that I can't cope with, what's happening to them. But that was a day I purchased quite a lot of yarn, and I was thinking that, like I said, I didn't really need it, but what I eventually settled on was the fact that I had purchased Knitting for Olive maybe about 2 years ago in the hazel shade. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in my storage, and I thought I hadn't made anything with it yet, and I thought I'd purchase the navy, which is in the heavy merino. The hazel was in the heavy merino, and the navy in the heavy merino, and combine them to make a stripy nautical, either jumper or cardigan. And I have had that type of design in my mind for a very long time, so I thought I would just utilize it. And I again don't know if I want it to be a jumper or a cardigan. I was thinking a jumper with a Henley style neckline, because I really love that in nautical themed knitwear. And yeah, so this is the first time I've ever actually I think I've brought blue yarn. I've made blue yarn now with the spinning, but I don't think I've bought it. Like a proper blue. I know I've bought teal. Or have I? I think I bought something from JC Rennie, maybe. But blue's not something I buy too often. And it's especially that this type of blue. This is a very generic navy type of blue. And then I thought, well, I've got Mohair with the hazel heavy merino. So in the same shade, like in the hazel soft silk Mohair. So if I just buy some Mohair with the navy blue, maybe I can knit it on a bigger gauge, maybe a 5 or 6 millimeter, maybe 5.5, and then I can combine. Then I can make it into like a cardigan, or because if I knit that into a jumper, I think it'd be quite warm. I'm not sure, but then if I knit it into a cardigan, that will almost be nice, kind of, something almost I can wear in winter. So that's my idea with this. I'm going to combine it with the hazel. This is not the hazel, this is another shade I bought. And the Mohair that I chose was not navy actually, it was a dusty blue whale. And they are not the same. And it's partly because of the swatches I was looking at. The swatches I saw, the Knitting for Olive are really good with their swatches, by the way. I can just imagine how much time and effort that they've put into those. But there was a swatch with the navy heavy merino and the navy soft silk Mohair, and I don't like it that much. Or at least I didn't like it as much as I liked the dusty blue veil. So I thought that let me just get the dusty blue veil. It was a bit of a risk for me because I have never seen Knitting for Olive. To be honest, most of my shopping's online. It's always a risk. But I just wasn't sure what I was getting. But I am quite happy. I still just swatch this, but I think I'll be happy with the shade that it creates compared to the swatches that they had online. And that will be the blue stripe. The hazel is something similar to that, but it's a darker shade. So this one, so that's them two. This one is actually the normal merinos. This is quite light, and this is very thin. I didn't realize how much of a light fingering their merino was. It was 500 meters, I believe, 200 grams. And this is in the shade Linen. And I bought, how much did I get? I think I got 6 balls of this. And then I bought 7 balls of the soft silk mohair, again in linen. And this, they're both 1,500 meters roughish. Like, you know, they're, I bought enough to combine. So I think I bought 6 of these and then 7 of these to get me the right meterage. And I did have a look at this very closely at first because there was other shades. There was wheat, there was oatmeal. There was a few other beige shades, but I like this one the best because it's got that slightly warmth to it. I don't like beiges that are on the grey side. I like them to be on the warmer, like lighter Moorit, a very, very, very light Moorit type. I would still say this has a bit of grey, but it's mostly brown, and it's a wee bit darker than some of them on the website, and I do like this. So I think it'll be a nice combination, and I think just maybe something like a loose gauge raglan, like a lento style. I don't have the lento pattern, but you can easily make that on a, you know, a 15 stitch gauge, a raglan on a 15 stitch gauge using these two on a 5mm. I think that would be quite interesting and something that you could, you know, wear in the summer even maybe. Yeah. So that was my intention with that. And then the last one I bought, so I bought the navy heavy merino, the, where is it? The blue veil, dusty blue veil, soft silk mohair, and the linen light merino or just merino, and then I got the linen soft silk mohair. And the last of all these cuts, I'm going to have to do a lot of editing, but my hand keeps on slipping because I'm holding it with one hand. So I keep on hitting the off button on the edge of the phone. But the last one I got was dusty petroleum blue in the pure silk. So I've bought the deep petroleum blue, sorry. So this is Barrette silk, 100% Barrette silk, and I have bought this before in the dark cognac shade, and it is a lingering, ongoing whip that I've got. I'm making the Anthony Shawl by Natasha Hornby, and that's quite nice to work with, actually. It's a very, again, it's a very thin silk, and silk isn't lofty at all, so it's quite thin to work with, and it's same as the fingering weight, but I bought 4 balls of these. Well, that's quite a lot of yard meterage, actually. It's like 1,000 meters. It's got 250 meters per 50 gram ball. Let me get this in focus. And see, the colour is a wee bit darker than what's coming up on the camera, which is unfortunate because I think this is a beautiful shade. And I have a drops kid silk called North Sea. And I'm thinking that if I combine that with the North Sea, that can make a very nice either shawl or a scarf. I don't think I'd want, I don't have enough for a top with 1,000 meters unless I make it loose gauge, but I just don't think, see, I don't know the properties of silk that much. I love silk, I love linen, you know, in my fabrics, but I've not knit with them that much. So if this is a woolen spun like wool, I know like having that on a higher gauge will give me a garment that's quite modest and not see-through. But with the silk, I don't know if that'll be the case. If I make that, if I combine that with a silk and knit it, you know, on a bigger needle, would it become sheer? Would the mohair be enough, you know, to kind of fill in those gaps? I'm not 100% sure. I'll need to do swatching. But even then, I think 1,000 meters, I'll just make myself a nice scarf or a shawl with this. This looks like something that I'd want around my neck. That's a lovely yarn. Yep, so that was my purchases from Knitting for Olive. Knitting for Olives. I hope they go from strength to strength for doing what they did. Okay, so I'm going to go on to some of the fibres I've been working with. I think I might have to turn this off again in order to get rid of all this and bring my fibres over. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the first fibres that I've been combining to make into a carded bat that I'm spinning up. Well, I'm hoping to spin up. I've not actually started spinning these up. I'm still carding them. So the first is this Hebridean black shade. Now, I have 500 grams of this, and I wasn't so keen. I think I've got 600 grams, actually. And I spun some of this up, and I wasn't that head over heels with it. Like the spinning, it's a nice fibre, very rustic. But so I thought I'd combine it with something just to make it a wee bit more interesting. So I've combined it with this. This is part of the botany lap waist, and these are all silks. So I'm trying to like make it easier for myself later on. But these are the silks, as you can see, and it's a combination of green, red, and yellow. Now there was a lot more red in that, so I've used up most of the red. So I'm not going to combine anything more, but I'm combining almost 2 parts this to 1 part of that bottom, those silks. I got this here. So you can see there's a lot more red in this, and possibly even a lot more pink. It's beautiful. It's like a cacophony. It's like fireworks in a dark night sky. Very nice. And then I decided that because I've not got a lot of this, and I've got a lot of this, I'll start combining them again. So 1-on-1, 1-to-1. I've done that one time, and like I've combined 1 part of this already combined carded bat with 1 part this, and then I got this, which is similar to that but slightly more darker because obviously it's got the more Hebridean. And I think I'll keep on doing that. So what I'll do is once I've combined 1-to-1 of this with this, and if I've got any more left, I'll keep on combining them till I've incorporated all of the Hebridean. So this is super carded, and I think it's going to be very nice to spin. So I'm quite excited about spinning it up once I've got it done. But you can still see the silk doesn't combine. I think this yellow one might actually be sari silk, but it doesn't combine as readily, so you always get these little streaks. But obviously the more you card it, the more and more combined it will become. So that's interesting. That's my laptop in the background. Very nice. So that was my first kind of spin. I will try to move this out of the way one-handed. Let's see if I can do that. I will clean up later. Okay. My next spin is something I am processing from fleece. This is a Fernhill. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not sure why it keeps on turning off. But this is a Fernhill fibre. This is a Romney Shetland. And this was how much I've got. After combing it and washing it, I washed quite a lot. I'll show you what it's like washed. I think I've got a wee bit of it here. Oh, I just covered it up with So this is it washed. And what I've been doing is I've been cutting off the tips of this fibre because these fibres are quite felted. Some of them do comb out, but it's a lot of work. And like I said, I don't think I'll be doing fleece work much now until my health improves. There's a lot of physical labour that goes into this, but it's a lot of fun though. Do you know, I can just imagine being a lot more healthier and doing this stuff would be very, very nice and rewarding. So this I've washed quite thoroughly. I'm not going to wash this again, so I'm going to start like I'm carding this on my drum carder. And once I've carded this maybe twice or 3 times actually, I get this. And I've combined this with a comb top I had. Let me see if I can find that. And it was called Carrot's Milk and Mince Pies, and it was I think from 2023. It was one of the World of Wool Christmas blends, and I combined it. Sorry, I'm just gonna take this with that. This is all the Romney with that, and it's given me this. So that's it combined 1-to-1 with just a bit of Romney. And the carrot had a bit of tussa silk in it, a bit of milk fibre and merino in these like orange in salmon shades. And do I have more of it? Yeah, I've got more of this. But what I'm thinking is to combine all of this, and these shades I've got. Again, these are old Botany Lap shades. And this is a wee bit of dark and light fawn. I'm not sure what it is. It's a natural fibre though. It feels good. It doesn't feel like the other ones in the... This feels really good actually. So I thought I'll combine this, and then I've got a bit of peach. And I think that will come, you know, really nicely with the brown. And then the Romney. This is Romney Shetland crossbreed. And what I've got here of this. And towards the end, let's take this all out. I've got a bit of Shetland. And this is dyed Shetland. And in this shade, this is a comb top. Dyed Shetland in this shade Butterscotch, I believe. Yeah. Again, the end product of this hasn't, I've not really made it yet, so I'll show you that when I've combined all on. But yeah, quite excited about this one as well. This is so different from the combed tops you get from, you know, things like Wincombe wool or World of Wool. The kind of hand processed fleece, there's something very different and magical about it. So I do hope I can continue to do it in the future, which means I hope I get a wee bit healthier in order to combine. I think this will be very nice. I'm quite excited to see the end shades. Like, do you know when I spun up the blue wool, I had no idea I would turn that shade from all those yellows and greens, but that's what happened. And my last combination is something I've not started yet. So I've only got I've got my base fibres, and I'll show you what I'm planning to do with them. So what is this? This is my blank finish. So again, everything one-handed. Okay. So let me get this paper bag out of the way. So I'll do the main one. This is Black Shetland. I have 400 grams of Black Shetland. This is 200 grams, this is 200 grams. And it's like a Black Shetland's always like a brown black. And that's beautiful. This was from Weft Blown. And this was their dyed shade from Weft Blown. This was quite a few years ago I got this. And this is in the shade Chestnut, which is a deep red. I'm thinking combining these two, that red brown that I've been kind of searching for, and, you know, the Gubbens shade. I think these two combined, they're both Shetlands, would be nice. And then I had this bit of the Botany Lap waist, and then this tiny little bit. I actually know this. I think I've spun this up in the past, then I got it again in the Botany Lap waist. It was a Christmas shade. And these are all merinos and silks. So that combined with, this is some of it, this might be silk, but this feels like a Corriedale. With this and this, I think will be a nice combination. Yeah. So that is all I have to show today. So I've shown some of my cast-ons, my whips, and what I'm working on. And yeah, I will see you again soon. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope the world becomes a better place. And I hope you stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.